Good morning and welcome to another SaTAROTday with Salann. We'll get started pretty quickly today, so let's go. All right, so today we are going to jump right in. I have the WildWood Tarot, which is one of my favorites. I haven't used it on stream or in a recording, but have used this one a little bit more than the others in my personal life or with friends. WildWood Tarot is by Mark Ryan and John Matthews. I think the imagery is Will Worthington. Let me double check if I can read that right. Yep. Will Worthington did the imagery on here. This is one of the decks that I kind of keep with like my plant oracles and druid oracles, nature oracles, that kind of stuff. It is a very earth-aligned deck. And with the last couple of days and things that have been going on, I felt the need for something very earth-oriented. So that is where the WildWood spoke to me and said, hey, it's been a while. Come on over and, let's talk about a few things. So, I wanted to get that started because this is an amazing deck, and if you like, pay attention to the image on it. If you like it, this is something I would highly recommend. Out of all of the decks I own, this would be one that would have to be on my keep list. So let's say I was told I had to get rid of every deck but 5. Well, one of them would be the Steampunk, of course, probably the Runic Tarot, WildWood, definitely. It would be at the top of that list. So, yeah. So I've been shuffling before we started recording, so I'm going to go ahead and pull some cards here. And let's see what we get. 7 of Stones. 2 of Stones, which is Challenges. I think that's going to be an interesting one. And then the 9 of Bows. So in this particular deck, because there are different, suits. The suits are not quite the exact same as what we're used to as far as kind of how they're depicted. So there's a couple of different things. We'll start with stones. So stones, think of rocks. And this kind of goes, honestly, for many different decks. Like, they have different ways of experiencing certain parts of the elements through the work, and you can kind of figure it out usually. So stones obviously would be rocks or earth or material or stable, substantial things. So this is stones is our earth, pentacles, coins, and then 9 of Bows. So bows would be a reference. It could be like, my first thought generally was air. Like, I was thinking, bows and arrows, they cut through the air, but really when you think about it, they're making very big decisions. They could feed you, they could by hunting, they could hurt somebody by defense or offense. So think a little bit more of will-driven processes and things like that. So bows, according to the actual creator of the what do you call this, the tarot, is fire. So, and then there's arrows, which are the actual air part. So the bow is considered the fire. Which, again, like I said, I find that a little different than what I would have expected for to think or to know how I would interpret it personally. But again, if, let's say, I really felt that it was air and it needed to be air, and the bow would be the thing, and I could do that. Like, that's something we work through as we go through it. But I like to stick with what the intent is of the creator. So we will stick with bows being fire and thinking of arrows as air. So we have basically 2 earth cards and a fire card. Now, when you look at kind of correspondences of what elements kind of work well together and which ones don't, that doesn't mean they can't. It doesn't mean that it's something that's never going to work or, things like that. But it does kind of give us some perspective. So earth is something that if you throw on top of fire, it can put the fire out. Earth provides fuel for fire also, right? So there's different things that can interact there, but so does air. If you can't don't have a place for the fire to occur, like a fire for heat or for something like that, then you need space. Location would be something of the earth. Trees, wood, things that burn are of the earth. So that's kind of how you get some interaction there. Now, as fire burns through that, it can destroy earth, but earth can also, again, like I said, stop fire. So you have this interaction here that's a little not adjunct, but opposing in some cases. But just remember, that doesn't mean always. It doesn't mean they're permanently opposed. There's a better word for it that I'm not thinking of, but let's just get into the reading anyway. So let's start with the Seven of Stones. Well, actually, before we get started too, noticing that we have the two earth cards and then one fire card. Our middle one is actually a challenge card. So we'll kind of get into, and it's reversed. So we really will get into kind of how and why things are the way they are at this moment for the reading. But I can tell you right now, this reading is one of self-empowerment. It is one of no matter what you do, it's going to be the right thing, because that's all that you can do is what your choice is. So, but anyway, I get ahead of myself. A Seven of Stones. So sevens, again, we talk about this every week, because I think every week we have a seven in the 3-card read. But sevens are kind of like the end and or transition phase from the middle of a system or event or thought or cycle towards the end of that cycle. The beginning is let's get it started, let's get moving and get the power. The middle is that pulling it together, fine-tuning, and then the end is the let's look at it, let's see, did it work, what's happening, right? So seven, we're getting into that middle area. This is where you kind of are looking around, and with the stones or the earth element, we're looking at what is it around me that is healing? What is it around me that is providing me with the positive growth? Right? What is it that's of the earth that's going to allow me to be the best me that's possible at all? And so with the Seven of Stones, some of the imagery that you are going to see, obviously the stones, you see some earth, what looks like a shaman. That's probably, my assumption at this point, would be the healing aspect of things. And the recovery. So when we think of healing, you think of it in different ways. From a fire perspective, healing is an active thing. From a water perspective, healing is a receiving thing. From the earth perspective, healing is just itself. It's a noun. It's not an action at this point. Healing becomes this whole idea of moving within yourself and letting your insides and your body and your mind and your spirit come together in a healing manner. It's not about the actual act of healing or that you are or are not healing. It's your substance is coming into its own, and it is pulling its pieces together. And that is very good for this week, because this means kind of don't pause. Whatever you need to do, you need to do it, and you need to make it work. And when we have difficult decisions to make, which I feel are going to come this week based on our Two of Stones, which is challenges reversed, these challenges are going to come up and they're going to push us. And this healing card is saying, it doesn't matter what you decide. Like, you can decide, it may not be the ultimate best decision at the moment, but it's not going to matter because it's what you decided. So don't let that kind of thing, really work through you or cause you to, fall. It also means that you're trying to do maybe too many things at one time, and you might need to pull a few things back. So far we've talked about the Seven of Stones and this method, not of actively healing or receiving healing, or having this emotional wellness. We're talking about healing as a subset, as its own thing, of pulling things and merging things together and allowing us to make sure that, we got to do what we got to do. Don't hesitate with your actions. Don't second guess yourself, because that's just going to add to your anxiety, right? And then, like, the Two of Stones inverted is thrown in this whole challenge aspect of stop trying to throw so many things up in the air. Let's just, for a little while, you don't have to do it forever, but slow everything else down, or everything down just a minute. and kind of really look at what you need to do. And then when you make a decision, you have to make it and you have to stick to it. Right? There's no way around that. Now we go to the Nine of Bows. So the Nine of Bows, remember we said, was one of our fire cards. And this is really a message of adaptation, right? In the card yourself, you see what looks like it is the wild man. It is an antlered man. He looks pretty raw. It looks like he's hunting out in the woods, trying to, use earth to support himself, right? This is an earth-aligned deck, remember, even in the fire card. And it's really, really pushing us to kind of think about what is that part of the fire that's really engaged us, or moving us into what our next step is supposed to be, because we can't stay stagnant. Like, that's not an option. The Nine of Bows in this card, it says respect on it, and that is, I think, very fitting for the fire card, especially a 9. Again, we just spoke of how, the numbers of the cards kind of tell us that, initially which part of the cycle are we in. This is the very end of the cycle. 10 would be the end. So we're right at the end of the cycle of the fire, the element. And so respect would, in this case for me, be kind of looking back, not just respecting somebody, but looking at what you've created and what your cycle of fire is doing, and admitting that, yeah, this was pretty freaking on point. Like, you respect yourself, respect what you've done, respect where you are. This goes along with our read so far, because our read is telling us that we have to really take in what we're doing. We have to really slow down and make sure we don't overdo ourselves, and that we have to look at what we're doing and admit that we're good enough, that we did well enough, that we processed and we went through and we have grown, and that whatever happens, whatever we do, is going to be exactly what it is. This is a very, I don't want to label it positive reading, but this is a very clear reading of acceptance to me, of yourself, acceptance of the things that are happening in life right now. I'm not saying just accept defeat. I'm saying acceptance of I am within the realm of healing. I am within the ability to choose not to overdo it if I choose so now before it's too late. And I am able to look back and look at myself and say, I did it. I did right. I did the things I needed to do. So I feel the need to pull actually a clarification card or an additional card on this one, just because the message is coming through so strong for me and so clear. This is 1000% for me. Make a decision, stick to it, slow your roll. Everything is going to be perfectly fine, if not better, as long as you admit to yourself that you are good enough and let that grow. And so the clarifying card would be the Two of Bows. Now the card itself, again, has a keyword on it, that is decision. And I'm not wouldn't be my standard read from a Two of Bows or a Two of the fire element. This is, for me, it's more of in a period of limbo, of waiting, of pause. So the Two of Fire is kind of like this one or that one, this one or that one. Oh God, which one do I do? Oh God. And then you start second guessing yourself. Now the Nine of Bows says don't second guess yourself. It's saying, well, you did it, so fuck off everything else. You're perfect. But the Two of Bows is saying there's going to be a period of hold. There's going to be a wait time. There's going to be a delay. And I think that's going to be important. So that's going to have to happen. So that's the read for this week. Let's do a real quick recap. It's a lot of information. We've got sevens. We've got 7292. So 7292. So we've got some stop-go decisions. We are spending more time, equal time in the beginning and the end of the cycles that we're in. So this means we have to really kind of tie things together in a very good way. Seven of Stones, healing, right? Talked about this for a minute. I think if we had to pick a key word for this card, it is live within a environment of healing, or be within an environment of healing. You're in safe space, make decisions, and don't pause. This is don't pause on the things you have to decide on doing. Your 2 of challenges or 2 of stones, you're juggling too much, so pull back a little bit. Your 9 of bows, remember that when you do pull back, you're pulling back not because you're not good enough, but because you know you need to spend certain time on certain things and respect what you did and what you have become and what you are doing because you're doing it. Nobody else is. And then your 2 of bows, there's going to be a pause for the results of whatever it is you're trying to wait on or whatever you're waiting on. So it's kind of like a period of just like, ooh, when's this going to happen? So I hope the read gave you some information or some thoughts. It does go a little bit along with last night's reading that we did on the stream, although that was with a very different energy and a very different deck, which I'm not going to address here. But anyway, I really appreciate everybody stopping in and listening to the SaTAROTday read. If you have any recommendations or any tarot decks that you would like to see me use, please put that in the comments. If you would have read this differently, I would love to hear different perspectives of reading, so just go ahead and feel free to make comments, but again, keep them friendly, kind, and appropriate to your fellows. And if you have want to see more of this, like and subscribe, and we will see you, tomorrow for service and the next Saturday for SaTAROTday again. So, ciao.